This is Berry TV, where the truth is always in the headline. We'll take you around the world in 5 minutes, so let's get into today's top stories.
How close did the United States come to catastrophe? A gunman armed with multiple weapons breached one of the most heavily guarded political events in America, the White House Correspondents Dinner. A room filled with top officials, and one man determined to get close enough to fire. Authorities have identified the suspect as a 31-year-old man who allegedly carried firearms and published a manifesto criticizing U.S. leadership. Investigators say he exploited vulnerabilities in hotel security, slipping through layers that are supposed to be airtight. One Secret Service agent was injured but survived, thanks to protective gear. Former President Donald Trump, who attended the event, later said he wasn't worried, but behind the scenes, federal agencies are scrambling. The Department of Justice is now reviewing security protocols nationwide, and there are already political consequences. This incident is being leveraged in broader debates over infrastructure upgrades at the White House itself. This wasn't just a domestic scare, it's a signal to the world. If U.S. leadership events can be penetrated, what does that say about global security standards? Experts warn copycat threats are now a real concern. Meanwhile, allies are quietly reassessing joint event protocols for world leaders. Bottom line, this is more than a failed attack, it's a systems failure. And the fixes could reshape how power is protected worldwide. And as Washington locks down, the global economy is heating up. If you felt prices creeping up, brace yourself. Because tonight, the global oil market is flashing red. The US-Iran standoff is no longer just geopolitical theater. It's now hitting supply and your wallet. Oil prices have surged past $108 a barrel as negotiations between Washington and Tehran stall. This narrow waterway carries a massive portion of the world's oil, and disruptions here are already tightening supply chains. Financial giants like Goldman Sachs are raising forecasts, warning of prolonged instability. Meanwhile, global markets are reacting unevenly. Wall Street is volatile, Asia is optimistic, and Europe is cautiously holding ground. Countries like Pakistan are raising interest rates to fight inflation sparked by energy costs. This is how a regional conflict becomes a global crisis. Higher oil prices ripple into food, transportation, and manufacturing. And here's the uncomfortable truth. If the Strait of Hormuz becomes fully compromised, we're not talking about expensive gas, we're talking about economic shockwaves. A crisis that isn't dominating headlines, but should be. In parts of Africa, armed groups are seizing towns, killing officials, and pushing governments to the brink. Reports indicate rebel forces have captured key and killed senior defense figures, triggering a full-scale security collapse. These aren't isolated skirmishes. This is coordinated, strategic expansion. Governments are struggling to respond as military leadership gaps widen. Why should you care? Because instability here fuels migration crises, disrupts global supply chains, and opens doors for extremist networks. If unchecked, this could become the next major international intervention zone. Now, from conflict zones to economic power plays.
That is your short and detailed look at the top stories around the globe today. For continuous coverage and breaking updates, keep it right here on Berry TV. Thank you for joining us. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss a thing. Have an amazing day.